Welcome back to episode 2 of the Dad Project podcast. Thank you to everyone that has listened to it, giving me feedback and things like that. Very much appreciated. I'm just going to start this a little bit different before I go into what I'm looking to talk about. What you can probably see at the moment is I'm looking a bit scruffy, I had an op done yesterday, and it kind of went well, but the anaesthetic wore off halfway through, which wasn't great. But procedure's done, so I'm probably going to be batch recording a few different podcasts, and with that basically means that you'll probably see me wearing the same stuff. It's not that I only wear this hoodie, it's just it will be batch recorded and stuff like that. So what am I looking to talk about today? Now, obviously most people know that I like to work with men over the age of 30. That can be men without children or dads. But this one today is specifically for the dads. And the topic is being a dad versus looking after yourself. Now, why does this even need talking about? It's really funny, right? Because when I became a parent, and most of my friends became a parent, you'll look at your child and within the first, few hours of being a dad, you'll be like, I'm going to do anything for my kid. I will look after their life with everything possible. But yet, for some reason, no one looks at their own health when they become a dad. It's just about being a protector, a provider. And with that, they don't tend to think about the fact that if you're not looking after your health and you are eating like a sack of shit all the time, your kids are watching that. So when most men become dads, and myself included, you are extremely fucking tired. Now, I obviously had twin girls, so I didn't sleep well for the first year, but I'm pretty sure that's the same if you have singles, triplets, quads, quins. If you have quins, my God, fucking good luck to you. I thought it was hard enough with two. But when men become dads, like because you're tired, because you are pretty much running on empty, it's very easy to pick up your phone, get out Just Eat or whatever and order a takeaway to come in. Or it's easy to run to the shop, buy microwave meal or whatever that is, buy some sweets, buy some chocolate, buy something just to try and just give you something that feels a bit nice, because it's fucking hard. Like, it is hard. That first year of becoming a parent is like one of the most difficult things. There were moments, and I love my kids, there was moments where I hated them during that first year. The teething was fun, being absolutely sarcastic there. But the fact is that when you become a dad, everything changes. Everything about you changes. Everything about your priority changes. Suddenly you're looking at how much money you're earning and how much you need to earn to give them the life that you maybe didn't have, or the life that you feel that they deserve, or whatever it is. Everything changes when you become a dad. And this includes your social life, because suddenly you're no longer able to go out every weekend. You're no longer able to just go off on holidays. You're no longer just able to, house parties, whatever it is. Things change, and suddenly your routine changes. Suddenly your schedule changes. Absolutely everything fucking changes, right? So if you are training in the gym, like I've known people that used to train 5, 6 days a week to suddenly struggling to just fit in a day to train because they're so fucking tired and because they just don't know how to do it. And then in that time, with the people that don't manage to keep the training up and things like that, then, as I say, your nutrition tends to take a dive because you're so tired. Everything kind of takes a bit of a dive. You're trying to sleep when they sleep. You're very rarely going out on walks. You're very rarely doing anything exercising. You're just trying to survive, waking up in the morning, keeping the kid alive, making sure they're being fed, changing shitty nappies. And if you get half hour to yourself, you're probably just there doom scrolling on your phone before you go to sleep. I remember specifically one night, I think the girls were about 5 months old, and my wife went out to go visit a friend, took the girls with her, and I had an evening to myself. And I laid on the sofa, put Netflix on, and all I did was scroll for 2 hours and then went to bed. I didn't watch anything, didn't put anything on. I just scrolled. And then with that mind numbingness, again, you're just snacking on shit whilst you're doing it and stuff like that. So what tends to happen is obviously your social life tends to take a dip. It doesn't in all cases, but a lot of cases, your social life tends to take a dip. You quietly without realizing, start putting more weight on. You're starting to not look after yourself. You're living off caffeine. You're living off, a lot of ultra processed food. You're not really doing things without the knowledge of doing them. You're just doing them to get through day to day. And what men tend to stop doing is they tend to stop socializing. They tend to stop reaching out to each other and having conversations. They tend to stop the meetups. If they do the meetups, then it's, you know, very much, oh, my kid, you won't shut the fuck up at the moment. Like, we've all been through it. And then that goes on, and it can go on for months. It can go on for years. I know for myself, like, I was training up until my daughters were born. Then obviously they were born in September. I say obviously, like you lot know it. They was born in September. So for the 3 months after they was born, I was just so focused on being a dad, helping my wife out, getting up during the night to help my wife sometimes to do the feeds and things like that, then going to work on a building site. Every time my mate Jamie would pick me up in a van, I'd be asleep. And then we drive to the building site. I was actually told when I was at the building site by my site foreman I wasn't allowed to touch tools for like a week or two because I was so fucking tired and he was worried that I was going to like chop my fingers off or something like that. Which, fair enough, I get it. And then basically I tried to get back into the gym in the January. I've done that New Year, New Me thing that everyone seems to think that they're above, which is a bit mental, really. And then I walked into my gym at the time and I picked up two 10 kg dumbbells. And I'm not even sure what I was doing. I don't know if I was going to go for a shoulder press or whether I was warming up for, bench press or if I was doing dumbbell curls. Then I decided to dumbbell curl and I literally done 2 reps, put the weights down, walked out, and then I never went back into a gym for like another 18 months or something crazy like that because I was just so fucking tired. And the if I look back on it now, knowing what I know now about keeping in shape, about working around schedules and things like that, is I probably would have had a coach. I probably would have had a coach to help me get through it and sort of help me navigate it a bit more, get me away from trying to do the bro split and things like that. Because the other thing that comes in, right, is you get guilty. You get guilty about a lot of things. By the way, excuse me, I'm going to have a sip of water. Sorry, I'll try not to do that too much, but I felt my mouth was getting dry. I get a lot of guilt, and one of them is time. So, most men, not all men are, kind of as lucky as what I am now, where I can get up in the morning, go train, and I start work where I'm training, then I do my shift, and then I come home. For some people, it's getting up, go to work, drive to work, start work, get back in a van, get stuck in traffic, go home. And then if you do want to train, but I've been out all day, I feel guilty because my wife's been with the kid all day, or my girlfriend, whatever one, not judged. So that comes into it. And then, like I'm very much an advocate of this, and I genuinely believe this in my heart of hearts. The people that train early doors are the ones that get the best results. Now, I'm not saying that people that train in the evening or train in the afternoon don't get good results. I know many people that have done like shows, photo shoots, high roxies, things like that, that have all done it in the evening. I just think that there's a mindset when someone wakes up early doors to go and train, when someone wakes up early doors to work on themselves. I mean, again, this is kind of getting a bit like snobbery, I guess. But most entrepreneurs, if you look at most entrepreneurs, most people that are very successful in this world, the first thing they do is they get up and they work on themselves. Tick that box. Like it's a non-negotiable. And I think when it comes to time, if you're going to feel guilty about going to work and then going to train after work because you haven't seen your wife and kids all day because you're desperate to see them, set your alarm, get up a bit earlier. Now, I know there's obviously some people that are getting up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and going to work. So maybe the evening is the better solution. I don't know. But I think getting up an hour and a half, maybe hour to hour and a half early, go to the gym, train for an hour, even if it's not like necessarily with the goal of losing weight or anything like that, it's just to better yourself and keep yourself stronger, keep yourself a bit fitter. I think it should be a non-negotiable for you. Then the other thing is food guilt, right? So whilst you're sort of sitting there and you're knackered as fuck in the early stages, and this progresses on, by the way, in the early stages, and you're just eating whatever you can, and then you feel shit because you eat whatever you get your hands on, because you look in the mirror and you feel like you look like an absolute, like just an absolute sack of shit. So then you start feeling guilty about that, but then you don't know where to start. And then you kind of sit there and think, oh, well, I don't want my kids to follow my food habits. So then you get a bit guilty about the way you're eating. And it's just like this big spiral, right? Now, both of my kids are fussy eaters, and that has stemmed from myself and my wife being both fussy eaters, especially when they was born. We wasn't exactly the greatest eaters at the time. I'm now a personal trainer and online coach. My eating habits have changed from like a full 180. Like I like to think that I eat quite well. Do I occasionally still have a snack? Absolutely. Like I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not picture perfect, and I'm not sitting there saying that I don't ever eat ultra processed foods or anything like that. But your kids will see you as an example, and the more you can sit down with your children and have dinners together, and they see what you eat, the more likely they are to follow suit. Like my daughter Grace now, she's far better than Ava. Ava is such a like visual eater. But Grace will sit there and she'll try things. Like if she sees me eating my mince and potatoes, she'll, can I have a bit of your mince? She'll try the mince. 9 times out of 10, she likes it. Same with the chicken. Like got a lot better with her food. The only thing I find weird about my children is they don't like potatoes. I find that mental, especially as I've grown up in like an Irish family. I grew up on potatoes. On that front, mashed potato is the greatest potato. I will not hear any differently. If someone turns around and says roast potato, that's fine. Don't agree with you. Anyone that says chips, boring, bore off. It's mashed potato. Mashed potato is the fucking greatest potato, and bangers and mash is one of the greatest staples of this country. Rant over mashed potato. Then you get a bit of guilt about the training, right? Because and the other thing with training, obviously, it comes with taking time away. Now, if you're going to get guilty about training in the evening because you are leaving your children for a bit longer, or you're leaving your wife to fend for themselves a bit longer, or you're just not spending time with the kids, then why don't you just get up in the morning and just do it when everyone's asleep, right? So I personally think that training, yeah, it is about getting stronger. It's about getting leaner. It's about liking what you see in the mirror. But it's also, as a man, it's like, it's that time where you are just you, right? So you're a dad outside of the gym. You may be a boss. You may be an employee. You may be someone outside of that gym. But the one place that you are yourself is when you're training, right? So for me, the training guilt that I would get if I trained in the evenings and suddenly I'm missing the time watching my children grow up. Okay, I will set my fucking alarm and I will make sure I train, because mentally it's such a good thing to be able to train. It's such a good thing to be able to get stronger. It's such a good thing to look at yourself in the mirror, feel confident, feel leaner, feel stronger. And then your kids see that and they're proud of you. Like every time I've lost weight and I've got myself into like, say, shoot shape, or when I don't get crafted just before Christmas, my kids were so proud of it. Like they would be like, "Daddy, have you got 6 abs?" And then I'd show them my abs. "Daddy, let me see your muscles." And then they were proud. They asked me to go into their school last year to give a talk about becoming a personal trainer and about fitness. And the entire time I was talking, I could see how proud they were of me and how proud they were that I look after myself. Now, absolutely, the other thing that comes into things is that men feel selfish for trying to better themselves. And I know that is a really weird thing, because I think if you've got a good partner, they will support you. But there's very much partners out there that fucking hold their partners back. Like I've lost clients before because although they was in a place that they wanted to lose weight and wanted to look better, their partner didn't like the fact that that meant that their social life was stopped. So if you are one of them partners, if you are one of them people that holds back your partner, grow up, because it's not about you. It's about them. It's about them looking in the mirror and wanting to feel better about themselves. It's wanting to feel stronger. It's wanting to feel good when they look in the mirror, when they're going out with their mates, not feeling like they have to order off a fucking Giacomo and being able to get clothes in like decent retailers and pull it off. Like, and it's the same, you know, women, they do their slimming wells and things like that, but men need it, right? Like, there is so much pressure on men these days. Like, mental health in men has gone up exponentially. Like, 1 in 4 men are killing themselves. And I'm not saying that training will completely eradicate that, but it will fucking help towards not doing it, because you are working on yourself. You are doing something positive for you. And when it comes to depression and anxiety, which I have suffered with in my lifetime, I can tell you categorically, whatever mental state I'm in, even if I'm at my lowest or at my highest, training will have that ability to flip that dial up. So men that feel selfish because their wife isn't in that situation, because they don't want to miss out on their kids, because they feel guilty that they're tracking their food or they're eating separately from their kids from time to time. I just think, look at the bigger picture. Now, I said in my last podcast that I want to be a man at 70 years old who can play with their grandchildren, who, when he's walking down the aisle with his daughters, that I look good in a suit and I look the bollocks. Like, I want to be at 70 years old, an old man that can still do things, not an old man that relies on people to come to me. And that will keep me training for the next 30 years of my life. Will it necessarily be balls to the walls training? Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what my life entails. However, I know that I will keep training to prevent injuries and to make sure that I am providing a better lifestyle for my kids to see. And then there's a knock-on effect with all of this, right? So if you don't take care of yourself, the things that are going to take the biggest hit the most, your confidence, your energy, your mood, relationships, all of that can take a knock-on effect if you don't start looking after yourself. The same way that if you do look after yourself, suddenly your confidence skyrockets. Suddenly your energy you have more energy. Not necessarily in a diet phase. Listen, for the ones that are listening to this that may have done prep and you fucking been on the floor without energy, but all in all, you have more energy. Your mood is better because when you wake up and you get out of the shower in the morning and you look in the mirror, suddenly you're looking at your body and you're not just there holding your stomach fat. You're looking in there and you feel proud of what you're doing. Relationships, listen, when you first get with your partners, there's an attraction there, right? And if you sit there and you think that you let yourself go, and your wife may suddenly feel like, and it's the same both ways, by the way, if you don't look after yourself and suddenly you're not looking your greatest, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to change that. And I don't think there's like anything wrong with me saying that relationships will always have a part of, I want to be attracted to my partner, right? So if you're there and you're just putting on weight and you're just letting yourself go and you're just fucking sat on the sofa drinking beers every Saturday and Sunday with takeaways around you and you just turn into a slob, what's going to happen with your relationship? And that's, okay, maybe I'm speaking out of turn there, but I think there is a correlation between that. And it's more than just fitness, these things, right? Because, as I say, it's the goal in life, right? Now, I work with clients from age ranges between 25 up to 55. I've had 60-year-old clients and things like that before, right? And majority of them are dads, majority of them are parents and stuff like that. And the ones that are parents, right, they're doing it because they want to be healthier for their children, right? So it's not just the aesthetic, I want to look good. But I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to look good either, right? So I think going to the gym is more than just fitness. Getting in shape is more than just fitness. It's about working hard towards something. It's about achieving a goal if you've set a goal. Like if you want to do a high rocks, if you want to do a bodybuilding competition, if you want to do a photo shoot, if you want to do an ultra marathon, all of it will stem from you going into the gym, starting a plan and going from A to B to get there. And I think it's so important that men have that to work towards, because the majority of men in life, not everyone is an entrepreneur, not everyone is a CEO, not everyone is self-employed running their own business. You know, sometimes you are just a number in a company, and the only bit of achievement you might get comes from in the gym. It might come from hitting a 100 kg bench press. It might come from being able to do a sub 120 high rocks. It might come from just competing in the London Marathon or Manchester Marathon or whatever. It might just come from these goals that you set before you walk into the gym. And what happens when men stop caring about that is you tend to go on like a bit of a slippery slope. Now, I know a lot of people who I would say are like functioning alcoholics. Might speak out of turn there, but they're functioning alcoholics, right? So they can still get up and go to work, do their job, but they're still drinking loads, still drinking all the time. They're, now at the point where, especially around my age bracket, you have to start thinking about things like heart disease, heart attacks, cancer if you're smoking like a fucking chimney. Like, we're getting to that age now where we're not getting younger and suddenly illnesses are becoming a bit more severe. And I think that it doesn't happen overnight either. Like, I think this is another thing that's happened when I've spoke to clients before when they've come on with me. Like, I've had someone come up to me who is 19 stone and they're going to a family's wedding in 3 months and they want to get down to 12 stone. Now, you didn't get to 19 stone from the 12 stone you started at originally in 3 fucking months. It was years worth of bad decisions, not looking after yourself, not fucking going out for walks, eating like a sack of shit, drinking, just in general, just not looking after yourself. And it's years and years and years and years worth of these decisions that has then put you in a position where now all of a sudden you're like, oh, fuck, I'm going to my cousin's wedding. I want to wear a suit. I'm now worried that I'm going to look like Chief Wiggum when I put a suit on. And you've got to be realistic, right? Now, I also, and I'll caveat this, I done a social media post saying that a diet phase you want to get in and get out as quick as you can. And in some cases, that is doable. Like, I'll use myself as an example. Get Crafted, I started at 93 kg and I finished at 79 kg. And I've done that in 8 weeks. So that's 14 kg dropped in 8 weeks. But then my starting point wasn't that bad. Yeah, there was a bit of fluff there, but it wasn't like I was obese or anything like that. Now, if I'd started Get Crafted and I was, say, 113 kg wanting to get down to 79, then you're talking 33 kilos. It can be very hard to drop 33 kilos in 8 weeks in one hit. What's likely to happen is I would have likely have had an 8-week aggressive cut. Maybe I would have dropped anywhere between the 12 to 16 kg mark or 10 to 16, whatever. Then I would have had to have took a diet break for 4 to 6 weeks just to get me out of that deficit, refuel my body, get a little bit more energy in, get away from the diet fatigue that you suffer from. Then I would have had to have gone again to get to that mark. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to show up day after day to do this stuff. And it's the same if you're trying to build a physique, right? So like right now, I'm in a bit of a weird phase. I'm actually heading into a growth phase, but because I had this operation, I can't train for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It says 4 weeks. I'm going to try push for 3, but we'll see. So therefore, my calories have been reduced. So I'm not just putting on body fat because I can't exercise and put the output in that I am used to, basically. So then I'll go into a growth phase for like 2.5 months or something like that. Everything that you do, it involves you showing up day after day, and changing your physique is not a 8 to 10 week thing. It's like years worth of commitment, but it's years worth of looking after yourself. It's years worth of making decisions to better yourself. So then look at it this way. Looking after yourself, is that selfish? No, I don't think it is. I don't think it's selfish looking after yourself. Is it selfish to sit there and think, if I lose weight and I keep the weight off and I start eating healthy, I'm going to be able to be about for my grandchildren and I'm setting a good example for my kids? wouldn't say that that's being selfish. Is it better to look after yourself than not look after yourself? I'd say absolutely. Being in shape will improve everything, right? So if you're 30 years old and watching this and you're single and you're on Tinder and you're trying to get a date, do you think someone's going to swipe for you if you're overweight and look like a sack of shit, or are they more likely to swipe for you if you're in shape? If you are a husband, do you think your wife is going to find you more attractive if you are overweight and not looking after yourself, or if she sees you picking up your running shoes, going for a run, or going down to the gym and getting yourself in shape and making your body look good? I think everyone prefers someone that is in shape. Um, and kids see a lot more than you realise, right? Yeah, your kids see a lot more than what you realise as well. I think, like, as I say, when with Grace, for example, when Grace sees me eating like mince and potatoes, chicken and rice, things like that, she's more inclined to eat it because she's watching me eat it. If she sees me eating McDonald's every night, she's likely to be eating McDonald's every night. Therefore, she could end up being obese when she's older. I would rather set the example of eating well and them following that than eating like shit and them not following that. There is a caveat to this though. When I had done my photo shoot back in 2023, we took the kids swimming, and I'm never proud of this moment, but I took the kids swimming and I was 2 weeks away from the photo shoot. I think I was just about to start my peak week. And Ava bought some Magic Stars from the vending machine and she wanted to share with me. And I told her no. And I've never been proud of that. So there is caveats to that. However, I do think that overall, being in shape and looking after yourself is the absolute best thing you can possibly do. I think it's the best thing you can possibly do for you. I think it's the best possible thing you can do for your kids. I think it's the best possible thing you can do for your wife, your partner. And the other thing that I kind of want to bring to people's attention is the people closest to you who you think are supporting you are usually the ones that doubt you, and they're usually the ones that actually aren't supporting you. It's usually the support from strangers that will keep geeing you up and keep you going. So yeah, that was just a little TED talk on um, basically on being a dad versus looking after yourself, because we all go through different stages. We all go through different feelings and emotions when you become a parent. You just got to make sure that you're making the right decisions for yourself. Um, so yeah, that was episode 2 of the Dad Project podcast. Make sure you give it a follow and a like on YouTube and on Spotify. I'll be releasing these every Wednesday. So this episode will come out next Wednesday. So as you're listening to this, this will be Wednesday in February. So already we've lost a month of the year. If you want to work with me, I will put a link in the description in both the YouTube and the podcast. Click on the link, fill in my consultation form. We'll have a 30-minute conversation about how we can navigate um, basically getting to the gym, getting yourself in shape, looking after yourself around your schedule. Now, a lot of people will always turn around and say that life is a bit too busy, and you likely start when life gets less busy, but I don't think life ever does get less busy. So I think that excuse is just you hiding behind, just not fully committing. There's a bit of anxiety about getting started. But if you are looking to work with me, then as I say, click on the link. If you want to get some more information on me, most of you probably know me through Instagram anyway, but just follow me on John C. Coach on Instagram, on John Cooper Online Coaching on Facebook, and John Cooper Online Coach on TikTok. You can also find this episode on the Dad Project podcast on YouTube and Spotify. So as I say, give it a like, give it a share, subscribe. It all helps. And hopefully you've enjoyed that episode. Hopefully that resonates with a few of you. And I will speak to you soon. Bye.